A federal judge has blocked Elon Musk's from accessing the material to the Treasury Department. Tyrone Bowman live. Let's talk about it here. Welcome to the conversation. Welcome to the program on this morning. According to the Washington Post, the headline reads Federal judge blocks Musk Doge from access to Treasury Department material. This is coming out of New York City in an article written by Ashana Jacobs. A federal judge issued an emergency order early Saturday prohibiting Elon Musk's U.S. node services from accessing personal and financial data on millions of Americans kept at the Treasury Department, noting the possibility for irreparable harm. U.S. District Judge Paul A. Engelmeyer's decision also ordered Musk and his team to immediately destroy any and all copies of material downloaded from the Treasury Department's records and systems, if any. Quote, close quote. The conditions are in place until another judge hears arguments on the matter February 14th. The ruling came hours after attorneys generals from 19 states sued to stop Musk's team from dealing with sensitive files during its review of federal payment systems, an unprecedented effort that skirted from security measures that permitted access to systems only to train Treasury employees. In a four-page order, Engelmeyer said the states that sued the Trump administration will face irreparable harm in the absence of injunctive relief. That is both because of the risk that the new policy presents of the disclosure of sensitive and confidential information, and the heightened risk that the systems in question will be more vulnerable than before to hacking, quote, close quote, Engelmeyer wrote. He adopted arguments by the states that Treasury records from the agency's Bureau of Fiscal Services can only legally be accessed by specialized civil servants with a need for access to perform their job duties, quote, close quote. Under the order, the Trump administration is prohibited from giving access to political appointees, special government employees, or government employees that are not assigned to the Treasury Department. The White House has said that Musk has been designated a special government employee. The lawsuit led by New York Attorney General Letitia James says Doge, a group operating under the direction of President Donald Trump, had no authority to access the Treasury Department systems, and that doing so was a potentially massive cybersecurity and privacy risk. Defendants' new expanded access policy process a huge cybersecurity risk that put vast amounts of funding for the states and their residents in peril, since the lawsuit filed late Friday in U.S. District Court in Manhattan. All of the state's residents whose personal identifiable information and sensitive financial information is stored in the payment files are at risk of having that information compromised and used against them, quote, close quote. James and the other state law enforcement officials warned that DOGE, which stands for Department of Government Efficiency, has reportedly used a third-party open source artificial intelligence system to process data from other agencies recently, sparking fears that the Treasury Department records could be mishandled. In addition to New York, states involved in the lawsuit are Arizona, and that's a Republican state, California, Colorado, Republican, Connecticut, Republican, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, North Carolina, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Wisconsin. As Democratic Attorney Generals, we are suing to stop this unprecedented and unauthorized attack and to protect your personal information, James said in a videotaped statement. The payments involve essential needs such as health care and child care, James said. New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Platkin said in a news release that Doge's entry to secure government systems has put at risk financial and information security of our state and residents and Americans across the country, and they are completely unacceptable. Efforts to get clarity on Doge's plans for the agency have not been successful, the Attorney General said. Trump is asking a federal judge to revoke Doge's access to the sensitive material and issue a declaration that Treasury policy change is unlawful and unconstitutional. In response to the news, of course, these people love to tweet with their fat fingers. Musk posted Saturday on X that Doge and Treasury officials were working to add categories and rationales to each payment, which he said would make it easier to audit the trillions of dollars the payment system handles each year. Lie. He said he was primarily concerned with finding fraudulent transactions. Lie. White House spokesman Harrison Fields said in a statement Saturday that the judge's order amounted to absurd judicial overreach and that challenges to Doge's efforts stem from those who'd rather delay much needed change with legal shenanigans than work with the Trump administration to rid the government of waste, fraud, and abuse. Why should the Democrats work with the Trump administration? Why? Any Democrat that goes along with anything that the Trump administration does, you're a coward. Stand up for once and be bold. Y'all better be thinking about the midterm elections and pick battles that you know you can win. Change the trajectory of the Congressional House. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The power to change and to hold this administration accountable is in the midterm elections. Angry people across the nation need to get out and vote. White House, I read that. An outside review conducted by a federal contractor found an unprecedented insider threat risk at the Treasury Department as a result of Doge's access to a vital payment network that provides a necessary function to the entire U.S. economy. The contractor, Bowes Allen Hamilton, recommended that Doge's access to the agency's network be cut immediately, the Washington Post reported Friday. You know, ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. You know, sometimes childhood fairy tales have real meanings, like the Pied Piper. Think about it. The Pied Piper. You know the story. The king hired the Pied Piper with his music to get rid of all the rats in the city. And then the king didn't want to pay the money that was promised. And that same Pied Piper, he drowned all the children in the sea. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses, all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Pay attention. Musk associate Tom Cruise will be put in charge of $5 trillion in Treasury Department disbursements after a now retired career official at the department clashed with Doge over its request for access. The appointment of a Musk insider will potentially give Doge more leverage within the agency to carry out the Trump administration's agenda. Yeah, and that agenda is to keep billionaires richer. You'll never take all this money with you. Hoarding all this money and not giving a damn about the poor and the sick and the needy. Greedy CEOs of major corporations making unprecedented amounts of money. Greedy CEOs replacing workers with artificial intelligence, talking about productivity, efficiency. Greedy CEOs in the healthcare industry denying people the care and the access to good healthcare that they need. And the very people who are advocating for these things are the ones who work in government that have the best free healthcare on the planet at the cost of taxpayers. Americans depend on Treasury payment processing for Social Security disbursements, tax refunds, veteran services, Medicare, and Medicaid, just like I was saying. It pays out trillions annually, supporting federal grants to states for users such as disaster relief, education programs, social services, and law enforcement initiatives. The Treasury Department, under the leadership of Trump appointee Scott Bessent, has said that Musk's team was given read-only, exposure to payment records in an apparent effort to ease concern about the policy change. The comment did little to quiet widespread fears about the role of Doge in essential government functions. The plaintiff also said that Doge incursion into the agency's record system could mean additional freezes or the release of federal funds after a recent chaotic episode following a White House ordered freeze on grant and loan disbursement. ADC. Federal court judge temporarily blocked the Trump administration funding pause order last month, providing a respite for nonprofits, states, and individuals who depend on federal funding. Dogg's activities throughout the government have generated widespread confusion for federal employees and alarmed career government workers who have tried to maintain protocols as Musk and his team seem to have aggressively downsized the government workforce. So, former Treasury Secretary official David A. Librick resigned after sparring with Musk and his team, including Cruz, a Silicon Valley executive, over database access. Cruz will serve as the Fiscal Assistance Secretary of the Treasury Department. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Never surrender. Never quit.